had a gyrotonic at the studio, and my mom used to pay for them, and she was so funny. Her biggest cue was always, and squeeze the lemon. Like you have the lemon.
Pelvic floor.
Squeeze the lemon. Welcome to Beyond the Reps, where we talk about all things your physical therapist and trainer forgot to tell you. I'm one of your hosts, Whitney Stephenson. I am a gym owner, a celebrity trainer, and a personal training coach.
And I'm Dr. Hanna Shays, your co-host. I'm a physical therapist and practice owner. All right, we're back. It's been like 6 weeks.
It's been too long.
It's been a long time, but it was a good break.
Back on the floor of my house.
Today we have a very special guest. It's our friend and colleague, Caralyn Maerz. She is a Pilates instructor and also now has her master's in integrative nutrition. So welcome, Caralyn.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you guys for having me.
Can you just do a brief little intro for the listeners about how you got into Pilates and kind of your background there? We're gonna do two parts. This is gonna be a 2-part podcast. We're gonna start with Pilates, and then we're gonna do a part 2 on integrative nutrition.
Yeah, they're both pretty heavy topics, so we'll fill up some space.
But for this intro, you can talk about the Pilates and the integrative nutrition. Just give us a summary.
Okay.
Who is Caralyn?
Yes.
Who is care about wellness?
Yes.
So there's a couple factors that went into me getting into Pilates and nutrition, but one of the biggest was my own health journey, and I can talk more about that later. But I was pretty unhappy working in the corporate world after I graduated, and I started having a lot of GI problems, autoimmune conditions, things like that, and that led me basically to a path of seeking healing, wellness, and wanting to change my life, and through that process want to help change others' lives too. So that's basically what got me into Pilates and nutrition, if I were to sum it up really quickly.
It's so funny because I remember working at an old job, and there were so many people who would come in and be like, I'm so done with the corporate, like, is it just like a meat grinder? Like what goes on in like said corporate world? Is there anything you can share?
I feel like it depends for everyone, like, and if you like what you do, but I was not actually enjoying my job.
Yeah.
I was enjoying...
So the work itself was like already, this is not my favorite thing.
Right. So I was working in the health insurance industry. I had been pre-med for a long time in undergrad, and I decided to switch to health administration at a certain point. And once I graduated, first of all, it was, not to date myself, but 2012, peak recession time. And I was like, what am I doing?
So it's time to graduate.
Yeah, what am I going to do with my life? I was like back home living with my parents, and I'm like, I just need a job. How do I get into
my foot in the door?
Yeah. And it happened to be for a health insurance company. And I got my medical coding certification and got into this like niche in like part of health insurance that is called risk adjustment. And most people have no clue that this goes on, but it's basically reimbursement from the government to health insurance companies for like Medicare, Medicaid, any government funded program. And you keep track.
That doesn't seem like it is risk.
Yeah, I know the risk part.
When I think about risk, I think about like Along Came Polly.
Yeah,
It's
like people
oh,
think about like risk, like potential lawsuits and like things like that. Yeah, but this is more like how sick are your people and how much do they cost to take care of? And I think that's what really jaded my opinion of. I mean, not that we all have great perceptions of health insurance, but I was specifically working in the part that looks at how sick people are and specifically chronic conditions. So diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and in a weird way, you're seeking that information, and by finding that kind of information for the health insurance company, you're making them more money. So you're looked at positively. And I'm like, I'm sitting here in my little cubicle getting excited because these people are sick. And it's like literally the antithesis of who I am as a human. I've never been that way. Like growing up, I was a runner into weightlifting, and like that's how I like first started with nutrition. And I was like, I don't like this.
So you had like all this huge misalignment of like your core values, and then you were also like stuck in this system of, you know, the system that's perpetually making people sick. And I'm not just talking about like insurance, but I'm talking more about like sitting down in an office, fluorescent lights, lunch breaks with, you know, Skittles and Coca-Cola and Lay's is your, So you're in this like weird system, and then you had a moment of being like, all right, enough. This is so unaligned that my whole body is going into shutdown mode.
We're so misaligned. And it kind of developed from there too. Like I switched from working for the health insurance company, worked for a healthcare data analytics company, which sounds kind of like it is. They intake all the data that I was just telling you about, and then they help the health insurance companies with their risk adjustment process. And so at that point, I was traveling to different providers' offices, doctors' offices, and working with them and talking about, you know, their information, their populations. And then they're telling me like, oh, well, this patient can't get to the doctor's office, because I'm like going to like rural North Carolina and different states. And, you know, they're just telling me all of the different barriers of care that these patients, or barriers to access of care that these patients are experiencing. And I just was like, you know, this is a whole other dimension that I didn't even realize. And now I really do want to devote more effort and time to being able to help people versus contributing to this entire system that is like so
convoluted.
So convoluted, so complex, and, you know, really not helping to prevent any of these chronic conditions or help people get healthier. Just keeping everything a cog in the system, if you will. So
was Pilates initially a kind of like gentle way back into fitness for you at that moment? Were you like, oh, this is something I've heard of and I want to try?
Yeah. So Pilates came along when I was kind of too, I don't want to use the word sick, right? But like too, like, kind of sick. My symptoms
you were beat up.
My symptoms were so bad, I couldn't do anything else. I was an avid runner at that point in time. I was going to Orange Theory a lot, and my body was just burnt out. I couldn't keep my heart rate down.
Well, an Orange Theory is like, get that heart rate up.
Yes, exactly.
You were in the green too long. You've gotta push harder.
I had a heart rate monitor one time. I don't think it was working because I was on like level, like incline the most, level the most on the runner, and I was just gray. I like could not get and the coach like was, I mean, God bless, they were being nice and trying to cheer me on, but I was like, my monitor is not working. Like they were looking at the monitor being like, this girl is gray. Like the thing is not cool. Like she's not trying at all. And I'm like dying. I'm like, literally I sound like a herd of elephants running on the dang treadmill, and I'm in gray theory because it was just like was malfunctioning or something. But I can see why. You're getting pushed every day out of your limit.
Out of my limit, tired, exhausted. And again, like traveling for work and working like crazy hours too. Because that's the other good part about corporate life. You know, it's not always like just 9 to 5. A lot of times it's 9 until the job gets done, or even earlier than that, whatever works. But I needed something that was challenging because I didn't find that in other low impact fitness modalities. And I needed something that was going to be different because I didn't want to just go and do the same thing every
You needed some mental engagement.
Yes. And so Pilates became that for me. I fell in love with the mind-body connection. I fell in love with the fact that I had to concentrate during my workout. I got to learn things about myself all the time, and really become more connected to myself as a person.
That's amazing.
Did you start with mat or reformers?
So I did start with reformer, not intentionally, but because I was new to the Pilates world, a club Pilates opened up near me, and I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up. I'm going to try Pilates. And that's how I was introduced. So I didn't just get reformer though, because Club Pilates has all the different types of equipment. So a lot of people don't realize that Pilates is a system, and there are multiple apparatuses, and all of the classical equipment, if you will, was invented by Joseph Pilates himself. And so I think there's a lot of hype around, you know, reformer and mat because they are the most popular, they are the easiest. But there are also other pieces of equipment like the Cadillac, the ladder barrel, the chair, that don't get enough attention, in my opinion, and are very much a part of Pilates and how to deepen your connection and challenge yourself.
Yeah, I it's so interesting to me too, because being from California, Pilates was something like people talked about when I was in high school. Like it was up there with yoga.
Yeah.
Like people were just participating in it. And I started taking Pilates classes in high school.
Okay.
And I did mat, I did reformer, I did Cadillac. I did this thing called gyrotonic, which is like, it's weird. It's I can't even explain it the right way for people to understand. But Google gyrotonic Pilates if you want to know what that is.
Wait, can you tell us what it is?
So not very, I mean, I feel like
we have to Google it.
Yeah, I think Googling it would be best, only because I don't want to misrepresent what it is.
You're kind of seated and you're on these handles and you're doing a lot of rotation. Yeah.
It's like two driver, like steering wheels, if you will. And you like kind of like move
I gotta
your
look
body
this up.
with it, right?
Yeah. I'll have to look this up.
It's really cool. Which I was doing because I was doing a sport that involved a lot of rotation.
Okay.
So I was swimming. So there's a lot of like rotation from side to side and a lot of core engagement.
Yeah.
And we did. And I actually even did it was me and a lot of these older gentlemen at the time, but I did a chair Pilates for golf.
Nice.
And it was awesome. It was one of the most impactful little Pilates classes that I took. I'd take it like once a week and it just made like a huge difference in my life over time. But it's so funny to me how things are, at least in this area that we live, we're in South Florida here, and Pilates is like, it is back on the map. It is back with like Janko jeans and whatever else from the 90s is popping back up right now.
Yeah. Pilates is definitely a hot topic all around. Not always necessarily Pilates like Joseph Pilates intended.
Would you say that is like classical?
So classical is very true to Joseph Pilates' method, the order, and the equipment. That's how I would describe classical.
Does he have a specific phrase of the method? Or could you summarize that?
He referred to Pilates as controlology. That was his method, and that's how he used to refer to it. He wasn't super, egocentric where he was like, I'm going to name this entire thing after myself.
Bikram? Excuse me.
That came later. It started being referred to as Pilates later on, I believe after his death. Pilates people don't come for me on that, but that is where that term kind of started. But he called it controlology. He has his exercises, his mat order, the classical mat order of exercises. Then he has reformer. Then he has Cadillac. He does have the specific ones, but it's not necessarily like, when you take a classical class, there is still variety. So I feel like sometimes when people hear classical Pilates, you do the exact same thing every single time. That's not true. There are some variations, and sometimes you play with the order a little bit, but they try to be as true as possible to what Joseph Pilates originally taught. Whereas contemporary, we have newer equipment, we add in props like the ball and weights and things like that. And the equipment's a little bit different. So like classical equipment, the reformers have like leather straps, and the newer equipment has ropes, things that are more maintainable.
It's just like an evolution of
there's this
the methodology.
Of the methodology. That being said, a lot of people don't realize that in the early 90s, like 2000 time period, there was this big lawsuit that happened in the Pilates world where one man tried, he tried to copyright the phrase Pilates and basically say he was the only person that could use the term Pilates, and if you use that term, you would not
extradited.
You're out of the community. You're not allowed. It wasn't Pilates what everyone else was teaching.
So he was trying to like trademark something that wasn't his own.
Yes, he was trying to trademark the term Pilates, and he felt because he had purchased his original studio and some of the archives from Joseph Pilates, he felt that he owned Pilates. Not the case at all. So many of the Pilates elders, people that directly learned from Joe Pilates himself, they, along with Balance Body, which is one of the biggest makers of Pilates equipment, filed a countersuit to him to say, no, you cannot own the term Pilates. So many people do not realize that, and that lawsuit is the reason the term Pilates is generic.
So like you could like a gym, like Lifetime, they can offer a Pilates class or any place.
You've got the local big boxes.
I would say this is more
too.
like to classes that you see that are fusion classes,
where
they teach bar and they teach maybe some strength, and then they call it Pilates, but it doesn't actually resemble Pilates.
I would like you to tell the listeners kind of what muscle groups Pilates focuses on, because everyone thinks, oh, it's just my core, oh, it's just my glutes. But then there's also these deep, like, intrinsic muscles too, right?
There are. Really, full body workout. I tell everybody at the start of my class, you're going to get a workout head all the way to toe.
Yeah.
So, yes, we are working deeper intrinsic muscles. So when we talk about abdominals, most people think of rectus abdominals. So rectus abdominis.
Crunches.
Yes. We're really going for your transversus abdominis, which is below that. And your pelvic floor, which you know.
Below that.
So much about that.
I mean, I'm not a pelvic floor therapist, but yes.
So we are working some of the deeper intrinsic muscles, but I really describe it as a full body workout. Yes, we're working major muscles too. The focus is just on smaller movements, more controlled and connected movements.
Yeah. It's interesting too that it's very hot, I guess. Pilates in my mind has always been hot because I'm from the West Coast.
Because you're from
California.
I'm from where all the aliens are. We're doing Pilates over here. I don't know what you guys are doing.
That's where Balance Pilates started. That's where Club Pilates started.
Yeah.
Plenty of things started in California for the Pilates world.
Was in this very small town and they had all of these different kinds of Pilates classes.
Clearly they had gyrotonics.
Yeah, gyrotonics. How many people here, I say that and they like look at me like I have four heads. Like, what were you doing? Like, that doesn't make sense. But the interesting thing now too, and I think even then when I was doing it, it did lean heavily towards like a women-based audience or membership. I am seeing more guys like trickle into Pilates, which is really cool. I came to your class last Friday and there was like an older guy and I was like, oh, awesome. Like, this is so cool.
There's no men in her Thursday classes.
Well,
yes, there are.
Are there?
Yes,
okay, I haven't seen. I have not seen it.
Yes, there have been guys in my Thursday class.
I have not seen it.
Watch out, Sam.
I also haven't
Watch out, Sam. She's checking them out. Checking them out on the mat.
No, there's no men in the classes I go to.
Well, yeah. So that I guess is kind of like where I want to go with this is that, you know, this is not something just for women, even though it tends to lend itself that way. But this is something like we talk about pelvic floor and transverse abdominis and all of these abdominal muscles that are obviously heavily associated with like pregnancy, childbirth, et cetera. But like, I mean, guys have a pelvic floor as well.
You have a pelvic floor too.
Like surprise.
Yes.
And like it or not.
I think it became that way because Joseph Pilates did teach a lot of dancers.
Also, this was created by a man.
Yeah, it was created by a man.
Can we talk about that for a hot minute?
Yes, I just glazed over it. But yes, fun fact, it was invented by a man, which many people also do not realize. But
or they're like, Joe Pilates, like, who cares? Like, it's like the hot girl class, you know?
I love to drop Joseph Pilates facts in my class. I'm actually a really big nerd. Many people do not realize
we love this.
But I will drop random fun facts during my class. So it's great to see that more men are getting back into Pilates. I think some of the exposure in the Pilates world has helped with that. Many male athletes do Pilates. And there's been no secret about that. Many NFL players, NBA players. I just saw the other day on social media, LeBron James and his wife doing Pilates. Many of the Kansas City football players are doing Pilates. If you seek out the information, it's definitely there. I think it's great that Pilates, and one of my favorite things is it's for everybody. It's for people that have had past injuries, surgeries, anything that you can think of with your body. We've learned about that. If you're going to a certified comprehensive instructor, they have learned modifications for so many conditions. It's crazy. We go through anatomy, we go through physiology, you learn all these special modifications. So your Pilates instructor is super knowledgeable, and Pilates itself was rehabilitative. I'm not going to say we're rehabilitation specialists or anything like that because I'm very much a stay in your lane type of person.
Yeah.
But we do have the background to be able to facilitate rehabilitative type sessions.
Yeah. I think any kind of wellness or fitness that, you know, emphasizes you being in your body and like understanding how you feel can lend itself to some kind of rehabilitative thing, right? Or can be more rehabilitative than fitness, or you know what I mean? Like it can cross over a little bit.
It's a different pace and a different style of teaching.
Yeah.
So going back to mind-body connection, I like to introduce Pilates in the most basic senses and like foundational senses to learn your body. So the class you took the other day, we started with just really simple pelvic tilts and understanding what I'm looking for as your instructor as we go throughout class, so you know what that feels like and what that feels like for you, because every person is different.
Yeah.
Whereas when you start some other fitness modalities, you're doing right away. You're listening to music, you're moving, you're trying to pay attention potentially to an instructor. There's so much going on that it's hard to have that check-in with yourself to know, am I doing this right?
Yeah.
How does this feel for me? Should I even be doing this?
Yeah.
Which is not a question that's asked a lot in other fitness classes either. It's just like we were talking about kind of with the, group class methodology of Orange Theory, go, 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 do. And not only that, maybe you do the hardest thing because you don't realize the hardest thing isn't the best for your body that day. And that was something that Pilates taught me and I had to learn myself.
Yeah.
Some people come with that knowledge.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I just was going straight through every single time, not thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, I think wellness, fitness, I think any kind of class is interesting, and even personal training or training in general it can be this evolution. And in my mind, people sometimes come to fitness to leave their life, to escape.
Yes.
Instead of coming to fitness to dive deeper, they kind of come to fitness to like go into what is a song being played? What is a movement I can do that's literally going to take me out of myself?
Yes.
Versus, and then hopefully maybe through that they realize this can be a meditative thing and I'm going to use it instead of to depart from myself, but to like dive deeper and actually explore my movement, explore how I'm feeling. And that was sort of my evolution, because I was this person who really just loved working hard and like leaving my body. Essentially,
Yes.
I was working so hard. And now I'm in this place and I've been kind of standing in this place of like, no, I want to use training as a way to really get to know me and to work on my relationship with me and to work on how I'm moving and how I'm feeling. And if I could be anything, that's what I want to be a stand for. But I think that's really cool. That's something that Pilates offers from the instructor, from the tip top.
Yes.
So you said like Pilates instructors are certified. You take all these classes, all that stuff. But there's no way to check, like at the end of your name, there's no certification like letters. Like yoga, it's RYT. Like personal trainer, it's
CPT,
yeah,
NASM,
CPT,
whatever
CSCS.
you're.
Like, what do you do for a Pilates instructor?
There is a national certification that I, in full disclosure, do not have. It's the National Pilates Certification. I believe it's NPCT. I almost want to look it up real quick. Pilates people are going to come for me.
It's okay. We'll see how many Pilates people are actually listening.
Well, I was gonna say I don't usually see that
For
after anyone. I see RYT
yeah.
all the time. I personally don't know the Pilates certification letters because I don't see it very much.
Yeah.
It's the NCPT, the National Pilates Certification Program. It is a national test. That is the only national test there is. Otherwise, it's up to the instructors to disclose who their certifying body was. Mm-hmm. So there are many different certification programs, and depending on your certification program, you might be almost partially certified, if you will, because they work in blocks or segments. So they go by, if you're getting comprehensively MAT certified, there's MAT 1, there's MAT 2, there's MAT 3, and then you'll get your comprehensive certification for MAT. And then you'll move on to Reformer, same thing, Reformer 1, Reformer 2, Reformer 3. Mm-hmm. Some block it out differently as where it's more like beginner, intermediate, thank you, and then advanced exercises. So each certifying body does it differently, and you just have to check and ask your instructor. Mm-hmm. You can ask them their background. Most Pilates instructors are really proud of where they're certified by. Yeah. I was certified through Club Pilates. I received my 500 comprehensive from them, and I had amazing master trainers. And I think that, any Pilates instructor that's certified is going to tell you exactly where they're certified from.
Yeah. Well, so
Sorry, I have a question.
I just want to clarify that. I mean, we know you're certified, so but then there's that big exam which nobody has to do. It's just this like you're going for the letters at that point. Is that kind of?
No, I think that's you mean the national exam?
Yeah, like where you get the letters after your name.
You're going for.
You don't have to.
Correct.
That's not what people need to look for.
No, you don't have to.
I just wanted to clarify that.
That yes, you're going for that accreditation and the acknowledgement that it brings, basically.
Yeah. I don't even know if you know the answer to this, and I would assume that the answer is obvious, but maybe it's not. But when you go to take a Pilates class at one of the like hot trending ones, is there like an understanding that all of these instructors are certified?
I would never assume your instructor is certified, unfortunately.
At these big box ones?
At big box ones, you're safer, in my opinion. So any bigger company that I've worked for requires that, and they need to see it. They will ask for your certification. I mean, more at smaller studios, it's not always guaranteed. I would be careful, and that's not a dig. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I just didn't know because
it goes by studio owner most places. So some studio owners don't necessarily require you to be certified to teach at their studios. But if you're taking an equipment class, I would be sure that your instructor is certified.
Like do the research, do some homework on your end to figure out that the instructors are certified before.
Usually I go on a website, I'll look at their background, I'll see if they mention it. Like I said, most instructors do. I don't know. I mean, it's like anything else. Like you're proud of what you did and you want to say, like, I am a comprehensive, I am a comprehensively certified instructor or I'm, comprehensive mat, anything like that. So I just don't know why you would want to hide it.
Yeah.
Unless you don't have it.
Well, like when I used to teach group class, I taught CrossFit. And so, you have to have a level 1, you have to be certified enough. You have to go through your level 1 to coach CrossFit. But if your CrossFit gym has a boot camp class and they hire you and you haven't done your level 1, which would be very rare, it would be kind of a shame on that gym. And I don't think that's very popular. But they could have somebody coaching this like boot camp or this extra class because it's not under the umbrella of CrossFit, and it's this other thing where they could have, no certification or very limited exposure to like what any training is and leading a group fitness session like that was. But I was just wondering if Pilates was like very similar in that pretty much everyone needs to have a certification, and hopefully that's the hope that we are double checking and making sure.
I think it used to be that way. Maybe. I have only been in the fitness industry the Pilates industry teaching for the last 5.5 years. So I'm relatively a newbie. As you said, you've been taking Pilates lessons.
Oh my gosh, 2004?
Exactly. So, in the Pilates world, I am a very young instructor. And so that being said, my understanding is in the past, because Pilates was it was a smaller industry, like we were saying, most people were certified. But I think now that it's really taken off, and especially when it comes to mat and reformer, it's blown up so much.
Yes.
How do you keep track of all of these people that are suddenly saying they're teaching Pilates? And is it Pilates, or are you just teaching a workout on a reformer? What are you teaching?
Yeah, because the reformer it's not exclusive to Pilates. You can do whatever you want on a reformer.
Anyone can buy a reformer, and anyone can say they're teaching Pilates, like we were talking about, because of that lawsuit that occurred. So it's a generic term. And there's pros and cons, right? We get to say, like, I'm proud that I'm a Pilates instructor. I get to say I teach Pilates, which is fantastic, because if that hadn't gone through, I wouldn't even be able to describe what I teach.
Yeah.
What would you call it?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could have somebody who says they teach Pilates and it's nothing like Pilates. So
like we kind of established what classical Pilates through Joe Pilates is, but there's other kinds, like gyrotonic, there's Legree, and there's others I don't know the names to. Do you?
Those are not types of Pilates. Those are their own.
They're lateral. Yeah. Lateral to Pilates.
I wouldn't even call them lateral. I would call them separate things.
Totally
so like that's my opinion of it. They're not Pilates. And definitely Legree doesn't ever claim to be Pilates.
Yeah.
Which is also, that term is trademarked. So very interesting on another dynamic that affects the Pilates industry. Sebastian Legree invented the Legree method. It is trademarked. So if you teach Legree at a studio, it is a studio that has been trademarked by him. It is his method. So now there's this segment of Pilates that doesn't fall under Legree because it's not Sebastian Legree, but also doesn't fall under Pilates because it's not contemporary or classical Pilates. It's nothing like Joseph Pilates' method. It's the megaformer. It's time under tension, which is similar to Legree, and that's what Legree kind of stands on is their time under tension and more muscle fatigue, whereas we're talking about alignment, and typically in Pilates, you're keeping it to lower reps to ensure quality of movement. That's really the focus. So very different, but I don't know what to call that segment of the, now I'm going to put in quotations, Pilates world that has come about.
Yeah. Like the trendy gyms that are popping up. I won't say the name of any.
Yeah, we
local
won't name
businesses,
names,
but where
there's quite
it's
a
like
few.
it's a dark room and there's these cool lights and everyone's like they're like go go go. Like I think sacrifice form for speed just to get a good workout in is what's happening in my head.
Yeah.
I think I've taken some of the classes. I think it depends on your instructor because I think you can have a really great instructor that still teaches that method. I think though that you're right when a lot of the focus and the benefits that people would receive from Pilates are lost in that type of workout. And I tell people all the time, I think it's better to start in the Pilates world and maybe transition to that time under tension, you know, faster pace, more advanced movement type workout than the reverse, because now you're almost undoing movement patterns that you've learned. You're undoing that thought, because sometimes, clients will come to class and they'll have said, I did Pilates at X, Y, and Z. And in my mind, I'm kind of like, well, you didn't really do Pilates, but I never want to make somebody feel bad for their past or shameful for their past experience and what they thought that they were doing.
Yeah, they don't. A lot of people don't know the difference.
You have no idea. Yeah, you have no idea.
I just called Legree a type of Pilates.
That would get you in trouble too. I'm pretty sure you can't use his last name associated with it.
So wait,
now I know.
On that subject, actually, was Joe Pilates first?
Yes, Joe Pilates.
So all of these, I don't want to call them like branch offs, are nods to,
Pilates inspired, I think, is the terminology that the kids use these days.
Yes. This is a whole thing, I think, in probably every sector of fitness, because CrossFit definitely experiences the same thing with, creating this methodology, but really did they create it? Or did you just combine it all together and make people aware that you can do all these things? And then you have functional bodybuilding, or then you have a class, hard exercise works. You have all of these different what is what? What is exactly what it is? And or community fitness classes. And it's all, they're all nods to maybe this original creation of something, or
it's
at least
style.
Yeah, it was this person, Greg Glassman, Joe Pilates, whoever, whatever, even James Fitzgerald from OPEX, he was doing stuff like CrossFit in the 90s, 10 years before CrossFit was on the map. And it's all nods to each other. They're all not you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
it's really hard to, I always feel bad when I hear about these wars between fitness realms, because it's we're trying to do the same thing here.
Yes.
It's this person opened a church over here and that guy got mad, so he opened a church that does exactly the same thing as that church, but maybe just a little bit different. Our wafers are different, our wine is different, or whatever it is. But you're trying to preach the same method, which is be in your body, be healthy, learn how to move right. So it's so interesting that, and it gets, I think all of that does get kind of caught up and lost, and that's why you have instructors who just they don't care, because they're just there to do their thing, or show their ego in a weird way.
This is separate instructors, or is this the separate principal?
No, this
people?
is the Pilates world, because there's also I mentioned I was certified, my first experience, Club Pilates. When you tell some people that you were certified through Club Pilates, or you teach at a Club Pilates, it is Club Pilates,
oh really?
That's not real Pilates.
Peasant Pilates?
That's not real Pilates. That's I can't believe, I'm horrified by this fact that you teach 12 people in a room and all of these things. And I didn't know that. And what I love and fell in love with about Club Pilates is, again, it goes back to the principle. We're sharing Pilates with people. We're making it more affordable for them to take lessons. We're opening it up to a whole demographic that maybe wouldn't get to experience Pilates, because smaller studios unfortunately are more expensive.
Yeah,
and Pilates as an industry is expensive. It's expensive to get certified. It's expensive to take lessons. It's expensive to do continuing education. You name it, it's there. So it's very interesting because I didn't learn about that until after I was certified and after I was kind of like looked down upon for being certified from Club Pilates. And again, I had amazing instructors. One of my master trainers was trained through a Pilates elder. Like, she knows Pilates so well. My other instructor, she's got her master's in kinesiology. She's incredibly knowledgeable. So I think, you know, sometimes collectively there's a bad rap around certain things, and it's not fair.
Yeah. Does it need to?
It doesn't need to happen. But then, like, you get really into it. So there's the classical versus the contemporary world. And now there's this whole beef of, are we taking Legree style Pilates? Are we doing this? And I kind of, for a while, I was like, I need to not go on social media because this is just stressing me out. And why can't, again, we all be friends?
Yes.
And lately, I feel like there's a lot of posts that are like, no, you can't just do Pilates. You need to be doing weight training and you need to be doing this and that. And there's all these major kind of news organizations. Like, I saw one quote about Pilates recently that basically said, you can't just do Pilates.
It's funny because we were going to ask you that.
Yeah,
I know. Well, why not? Why not? Why can't you just do Pilates? It's like anything else. You are your own human. You get to decide what type of exercise you want to do. If you want to stay just doing Pilates, that makes you happy. That's fantastic. There are so many different types of ways to take classes and Pilates lessons that's totally fine. You're being healthy. You're doing what you want to do. And that goes back to the main principle for me. What makes you happy as a human versus what the expectation is as society and an industry, because there's always going to be pressure to do more things and to do different things. But if that's what keeps you moving at the end of the day, I did Pilates for probably 7 years. Just Pilates.
Just
only Pilates by itself.
Every day of the week?
I think I was doing at the time 3 to 4 minimum. And then when I started doing my certification process, I was probably doing like 5 to 6 days a week. And then it got to the point where I had healed my body. I was ready to make a transition because I mentioned earlier that I had done competitive weightlifting in high school. And I loved it. I loved it from
like Olympic lifting.
It was
high school is usually power and Olympic.
So
like a combo.
it's adjusted now. When I was doing it, this was only the Olympic lift. So it's bench and then clean and jerk.
Okay.
So
yeah, they don't snatch in high school, or they didn't.
Yeah,
I think
they didn't.
now.
They didn't when I was in there because
we're the elders now. I really like this term, by the way. Like, Pilates is the Narnia of the fitness world. All right, like it really is. Like, I mean. It's like Lord of the Rings. You got elders. We got these reformers. We got these like really cool terms. Like, I am obsessed.
Wait till you see the guillotine and some of the other really historic Pilates equipment.
Absolutely.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yes. When I started weightlifting, the shoes are really my pinnacle moment. I remember
Did you need a cobbler to like
honestly, my dad found this pair of like $240 brown Velcro ugly weightlifting shoes, and I looked at them and I was like, Dad, no, I 100% will not wear them.
Like, this is not.
And he was like, it's gonna make your lifting so much better. And I just told him, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't wear those. So I would,
They're like bowling shoes with
they
lift.
They were bowling shoes. That's the best way to describe them. So now, as you know more than I do, weightlifting has evolved so much. Cutest shoes. I just ordered a new pair.
Everything is cute. Everything is cute.
But I did weightlifting, and I had reached, circling back around, that I wanted to get back into weightlifting. I missed it. I also, at the time, this kind of all coincided where I was thinking I should kind of add some things to my fitness routine. I ran a 5K that my fiance and I now call our annual 5K.
Oh, that's cute.
Yes, it's our annual 5K we do every year.
Do you care if I ask which one?
So it's for the children's... Ooh.
Sorry, I thought it was going to be something easy like the turkey trot.
No, not the turkey trot. No, his organization that he's a part of they contribute to this 5K every single year, and it's the children.
Where is it?
Ooh, like Okehele Park. It's
for the love of children.
For the love of children.
Thank you.
Yes.
For the love of
This is
children.
the annual 5K.
Yes.
So, what is your weekly workout like now? You do Pilates, you did High Rocks, so like what is your
Yes.
give us like a typical, not a special month workout, but like your typical average week of
My
workout.
typical average week of workouts, I do Pilates at least 3 times per week, and I say that because I teach mat classes 3 times per week. So bare minimum, I'm doing 4 mat classes every single week that I am doing along with clients and members wherever studio I'm teaching. In addition to that, I also do usually 2 Pilates days myself. One for a mat day to kind of play with what I want to teach, learn new things, be creative, and then another to teach myself on the equipment. Again, it's more of like a creative session where I'm just kind of doing whatever. I try to have a 3rd day where I'm being very intentional with my workout and it's something my body needs, but that doesn't always happen. So Pilates minimally still probably 3 to 4 days a week. But I think about it a lot of terms like my creative time and more about other people versus myself.
Yeah, Pilates has become more probably play for you.
It has.
Yeah.
Yes.
And your body probably has it's adapted. So you have
It
like such a
has.
strong adaptation to Pilates that you're like,
Exactly.
what this workout could be for somebody else would be a butt kicker. Might
Right.
for you might not really give you the stimulus that you
Correct.
really are looking for from a
Yes.
workout.
Your class
And-
kicks my butt.
Good. Happy to hear it. But yeah, so, and based on that, so with High Rocks, I got into a lot of running. I don't know if people realize that High Rocks is actually
5 miles of running.
a running
Yeah.
race.
It's 5 miles.
I say that
Inside.
because I did not realize when I signed up for High Rocks that it was actually a running race. Like you will win that race running versus doing all
Getting
of the
good
different,
at-
the functional fitness.
You just need to
that
get like
do in
moderately
between.
good at the stuff so it doesn't kill your running.
Right.
Essentially.
And I didn't know that. I was,
Girl, we should have chatted.
I know, we did it. Yeah, we
You didn't know each other.
briefly
Yeah.
chatted
Yeah.
just before last minute.
You were
I'm
fixing,
asking
you were
Whitney for
fixing her
tips.
glute or her knee or something. And
Fixing
then
her shoulder.
her shoulder.
Yeah, my shoulder destroyed.
It was not. I don't think it was a specific High Rocks issue. You just happened to be going into High Rocks, and I was seeing you at a different gym, and then you started coming to Sunmade, and then you met.
Yes.
Yes.
Whitney.
Well,
You
I
could have
was
helped her, yeah.
assisting only because she was doing wall balls, and I was like, oh, I have to.
I
Come
have
in.
to help this
I have
girl.
to swoop in. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yeah. So with High Rocks, I started running a lot more, and I had gone through a whole running phase. I've been through phases, right?
Yeah.
Like I went through weightlifting after I graduated college. That's when I started running because it was cheap, it was easy, and
Yeah.
it was a challenge to me.
And sometimes running can be very meditative too.
It can, and it was for me at that point in my life, but that was also at the time where doing sustained endurance, like prolonged exercise like that was not actually good for my
Healthy,
health.
yeah.
Yes, and that's something I had to learn about myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't run as much now post High Rocks. There was really that emphasis, and during High Rocks, I was going through my shoulder stuff with you, Hannah, and my body honestly was craving a break, but I was pedal to the metal, determined to do
Yeah.
well at High Rocks.
And you had a teammate, right?
And I did.
Yeah,
I had
so
a
it's
partner,
like when you have a
thankfully.
partner,
Yes.
it's you're like, I can't let this person
right,
down.
I can't let her down. And she was the best partner. It turned out to be the best experience. I loved every second
Yeah.
of High Rocks and doing that. Just coming down from that, I realized, I almost went into another. We almost decided to do another one this fall. And I was like, you know what? I think it's better if I chill for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I kind of went back to my tried and true, which is a little bit of running. I honestly, lately, it's been so hot. Haven't even been running. I've been doing hot girl walks.
Yeah.
Literal hot girl walks.
I've been rocking.
It is so hot. And I do those probably 2 or 3 days a week. Yeah. So 2 or 3 days hot girl walking. And then I just switched to a split. Upper body day, lower body day, full body day for weight training. So 2 or 3 days of weight training.
Sounds very well rounded.
Yes. Probably most people
Lots
are like
of
this.
days.
Yeah, this girl
A lot of
is.
days.
And but again, I've adapted. I've worked up to that. I would not have stepped out, 5-6 years ago and started with that routine at all.
Yeah.
All of that has been added on each step of the way over years of time.
Yeah, you in your mind, like your quote unquote workout of Pilates is not for you even like workout. This is more of like work and my creative time and
Yeah.
moving my body.
Pilates is fun.
Yeah.
Pilates is something that I will always go back to, always crave. And the thing that I noticed when I stopped weightlifting and then got back into weightlifting yes, two very different time periods in life, but also pre and post Pilates, that Pilates made my weightlifting 10,000 times better. Yes. Yeah.
That's amazing. So, I mean, I think we can guess where you teach Pilates, but where do you teach Pilates? Like, where can people locally find you and go to your class? Or maybe you're only private.
So I teach Pilates at a couple different places. I teach on the equipment, as I mentioned, at Club Pilates. I do privates there as well. And then I also teach at Village Yoga, my mat Pilates class on Thursday and hot Pilates on Fridays.
Find me Friday.
I need to come with you on
Oh my
Friday.
gosh, it's great. Absolutely great.
And then I also teach at Lifetime Palm Beach Gardens.
You teach Pilates there.
I do.
Okay.
I teach mat Pilates there as well. Pilates fusion classes.
Fun.
Yeah.
And then do you do any privates at in-home or?
Oh, yes. I do in-home privates. Those are by request only, so you have to reach out to me. And then I do privates at Club Pilates.
I was going to say, if you do a private and if it's an in-home private, is that more of like an expectation of just a mat, or maybe the client has a
It can be either. Some people do have reformers at their houses.
Yeah, some people do.
Happy to come teach on their equipment. But it could also be mat as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we'll drop Caralyn's info in the description, and we'll catch her for part 2 next time. If you're local to Jupiter, come see the space or shoot us a message, and remember to rate and subscribe to the podcast. We'll see you next time on Beyond the Reps, what your trainer and physical therapist forgot to tell you.